Hello and welcome to the Agency Leadership Podcast. I'm Chip Griffin.
And I'm Jenny Dietrich.
And Ginny, I'm easy to work with, right? I mean,
You're
I'm not
super
super
easy to work
difficult.
with.
Uh,
I mean, you're a little cranky, but that's why I love you.
I think listeners know I'm cranky. They just if you listen to more than 2 or 3 episodes, you probably heard me be cranky about something at some
Great.
point.
I love it.
Yeah, yeah. But we are going to talk about whether or not you are actually easy to work with as an agency for your clients, and frankly for your prospects as well, because I think a lot of agencies believe that they are easy to work with, but their thoughts or their words maybe aren't matched up with their actual actions.
Yes. And I will say that I learned this lesson when I started hiring agencies and solopreneurs. It's not easy to work with other agencies. And you're like, oh, that's not, I thought that that was a good practice. And then you realize when another agency puts you through it, not a good practice. Like, for instance, making you use their project management system when you have your own, bad idea. Um, Sending emails with invoices that go into the void, bad idea. Like, there are some practices that I'm like, no, this does not work. It's not, you're not making it easy on me.
Yeah, and I think part of the problem comes from I think part of the blame goes to people like us who are always preaching to agency owners the importance of protecting their time and their margins
Sure.
and all of
Yep.
that. And I think that, some people listen to that, but they don't think through, okay, well, how does that look on the other end?
Right. Yep.
And so yes, you absolutely need to make sure that you don't have scope creep, and you need to make sure that you are protecting your time so you can get work done and you're not just getting eaten alive by meetings and calls and all of that. At the same time, you should think, what does the other person on the other end think? How would I feel if I received this communication, or if someone I hired acted in this way? How would I be happy about it? And I think if you start to do that, you'll realize that some of your practices may not be as easy to work with as you think.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think about a couple of years ago, probably 2 or 3 years ago. Um, it was a Saturday night, and a client's website went down, and the client called me. And the reason I remembered it's a Saturday night is because I probably already had a glass of wine. And he called me and he's like, "Hey, our website just went down, and I can't reach anybody." And I was like, "What do you mean you can't reach anybody?" He's like, "I can't reach anybody at the web firm. Can you help?" And I was like, "Of course." So I called the web firm and I finally got a hold of somebody, but I had to email 3 different email addresses, not a personal email address, and I had to go through their quote unquote process. And I finally got somebody to call me, and they said, "Well, keeping the website up and restoring a backup is not part of our scope of work, and so it'll cost $2,000 an hour." And I was like, "I'm sorry, what?" That's not a thing. And they had taken this client, the client didn't know, what they were signing, and they did sign a scope of work that wasn't included, and it was $2,000 an hour for emergency type stuff. And I was like, no, absolutely not. So their marketing manager and I got on with GoDaddy, and we restored it ourselves, which it was not a fun process, but it worked. And that forced us to, I think they actually ended up firing the web firm, but which they should have. But like, that kind of stuff, I think, is exactly to your point. They'd put in a process, they had a contract, they did all of the things, but they didn't think through, like, restoring somebody's website on a Saturday night is literally a click of a button. It's not a $2,000 an hour emergency kind of thing. So, yes, you should have a process. Yes, you should have a contract. Yes, you should protect your time, but also don't do it at the risk of losing a client over something stupid like that.
Right. And obviously there are some clients, as we know, who will abuse some of these things. So there are
Of
certainly
course.
times
Yes.
where you have to be okay appearing to not be as easy as the client would want you to be. So this is not this is not us preaching say yes to everything that you're asked to do. It's simply make some good judgments here. Now, if the website disappears over the weekend, and it's not something that happens regularly, it's not that this client doesn't generally abuse you, I mean, just get it done, and you can have a conversation after the fact and say, "Hey, that really wasn't part of the scope of work. We helped you as a show of good faith, but we need to work this into the agreement going
Right.
forward," or something like
Right.
that.
Right.
When someone is at a low point, that is not the time to try to extract stuff from them. It's a time where if you truly want it, if you believe half of your marketing BS that you put out there about they're our partners, they're not our clients. Well, then act like one.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, we have to think about scope creep. We have to think about margins, and all of those are very real things. But to your point, let's not cut our nose off to spite our face. Like, there are some times where you're just like, okay, yeah, sure. I mean, I didn't charge the client extra for them calling me instead of somebody on their account team because it was a Saturday night and they knew they could get me. I didn't charge them extra for that. We just fixed it, right? Like, and that creates more goodwill in your relationship and trust in your relationship than being like, well, let's deal with this on Monday. No, no.
Yep. And I mean, and a lot of it, a lot of being easy to work with is really the small things. It's not the big giant stuff. It's the little bits of friction that just become annoying. So think about how easy is it for clients to book time with you or your team, right? Again, and we don't want this to be abused, but at the same time, I've worked with a lot of agencies where they're like, well, I've got a half hour 2 weeks from now for you.
Right.
Come on. I mean, if this is a client who's constantly asking for time, okay, maybe. But in general, you should be trying to find ways to make
Yes.
yourself available. You
Yes.
should be doing things like making sure that your team is at least acknowledging emails within the business day.
Yes.
Even if they can't solve it, at least acknowledging it makes you easier to work with. Little things like how you handle billing. You alluded to that earlier, but make it easy to handle billing. Make sure you're finding out early on, who should these invoices go to? Do they need to be copied to multiple people? Don't say, well, I've got this process and it only goes to one person or what. Make the payment process easy. Make it so that people can pay online, make recurring payments. If they want to be able to change a credit card, let them do that.
Yes.
I had a recent experience with someone
You
that I've
did.
worked with for a long time. And I wanted to change my business credit card number that was used for it, and I was told I had to call an operator to do that. I'm like, "That is total BS in 2026. I should be able to do that online. I should not have to get on a phone and read out my card number to a human. That makes no sense whatsoever." Make it easy for people.
Yes. Crazy easy. Like, you should make it. It's funny you say that because about invoices, because we worked with an accounting firm who would mail their invoice, and we use a PO box because I don't want mail coming to my home. And sometimes we got it, sometimes we didn't. Like, and they would go, "Your invoice hasn't been paid for 120 days." And I'm like, "Dude, I don't have an invoice from you." And so I finally got them to email them. Like, this is ridiculous. Don't mail me the invoice. It's 2022, for heaven's sakes.
Well, if you wanna talk about not easy to work with, the PO box is a perfect example. I had a PO box for almost 30 years that I used for business, and I finally ended up giving it up recently because the post office was becoming extraordinarily belligerent about
Yes.
wanting various bits of documentation. I'm like, "I've had this
Yes.
post office box for 30 years. Like, we have to show
Yes.
up in person to do this," and so I would show up in person and like, "Oh, no, you don't have the right stuff,
Yep.
and we don't have the right people here today, so we're gonna have to do it again."
Yep.
No!
Yep. Yep.
No!
Yes.
Like,
Hmm.
that is nonsense. There are so
Yes.
many ways to verify my identity, the identity of the business, what like, come
Uh-huh.
on. Also,
Yeah.
30 years I had this box. Like,
Right.
and now you just decided
Uh-huh.
that
Yeah.
now is the time that you
Hmm.
need to do this? Give me a
Hmm.
break.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. Like, I th- I think exactly what you said at the beginning, which is, you listen to people like us who say you have to protect your margins, you have to protect your time, you can't have scope creep, you have to have a process, like all of those things, and those are important. But you also have to be willing to be flexible and nimble to the client's need within that, right? Like, there are some organizations, agencies, I will say, that have a process that they put clients through, and it's so rigid that it doesn't meet the client where they are, and it's impossible to work with them because of that. And I've had that experience too as a business owner. Like, you have to be able to be flexible enough to meet the client where they are and still deliver in ways that you know are going to deliver the results that they expect.
Yeah. And being easy to work with starts before they're even a client. I am often befuddled by how difficult agencies make it to get in touch with them for a prospect. I I see these web forms that have like a gazillion questions on them. Like, do you have a problem that you have a wild number of contacts that you can't handle screening them if you just get name, company, and email? I mean, do you
Yeah,
really need to
yeah,
ask them a
yeah,
detailed set of questions in a form?
yeah.
I don't. I really. That's one I just do not understand. And I've talked with a few owners. I'm like, well, why do you do? Well, just to make sure that we're only getting qualified leads. I'm like, do you have a problem with this right now, though? Are you flooded with so many that you can't even just
You
hit
can't
delete
keep
on the
up.
ones
Right, right,
that don't work out, or you can't
right.
quickly Google to find out
Yeah,
if this is
yeah,
someone legit or not? I
yeah.
just and the vast majority, no, 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 no. We just want to make sure that they're qualified. I'm like, you understand you're scaring people away. Every single extra form item
Hmm.
that you put in there
Yes,
reduces the completion
yes,
rate.
yes,
Don't do that. Make it
yes.
easy. Make it easy to schedule that first conversation with you. Strike while the iron is hot. If someone reaches out and they want to talk to you, bend over backwards. I have a different Calendly scheduling link for people who want to reach out to potentially work with me that opens up more blocks on my schedule. Because why not try to reach those people as quickly as you can?
Right.
And by the
Yeah.
way, use a service like Calendly to book time. Stop it with these back and forth emails. I can meet between here and this and that. That is like 10 years ago. We don't need to do that anymore. Have a nice little Calendly link that someone can use or whatever service you want to use that just makes it easy for someone to book time. You can always say to them as a polite thing, if you'd rather just give me a range of times, you can. But you know what? I've been doing this for years and I have yet to have a single person say, I'm not going to click on that link and
Right,
instead say, well, I just
right,
want to give you some windows because it's harder
right.
for them.
Yeah, right.
Make it easy.
Yes. Yeah, I totally agree. I think really understanding, like, think about it too from your client or prospect's perspective. If I were receiving this, how would I take it? And look at it through that lens to help you understand how you might improve things to make it easier for them.
Yeah. And when you've got someone on the hook and they're interested, make it easy for yourself to produce the statement of work and the contract and get them out the door. Have a standard template.
Yep.
Don't spend, I mean, a
Yep.
lot of agencies take a long time between when someone says, yeah, I want to do this, and when they actually start sending the paperwork. You should be able to get that over within 24 hours.
You absolutely should, and I think the problem with that is that people wanna write proposals that are, like, in-depth and strategic and have tactics, and they're really a plan. Don't do that. That's giving away stuff that you shouldn't be giving away for free. You should absolutely have a standardized template. And truth be told, I put ours into AI, and I said, "Here are all the things that need to stay the same," and it will pump that out, and then it will customize based on the conversation I had, and that's it. And always tell prospects, you'll get something from us in 48 hours, and they get it within 24, and then they're ecstatic and they're happy and all the things.
Yeah, and make it easy to complete. Make sure you're sending it so you can get an electronic signature. So all you have to do
Yep,
is click, click.
yep,
It's done in
yep,
5 seconds. If you
yep.
send it to them and then they've got to actually sign something and figure out how to take a photo of it with their phone and email it to you, why are you doing that in 2026? E-signatures are a wonderful thing. You should be using those. And then once they've done that, make sure you have a templated process for onboarding so that you don't say, "Oh, we've signed the agreement. Let me get the team together. We'll get back to you in,
Right,
a couple of
right,
weeks when we've had
right.
the chance to figure this all out." You should have an onboarding process so you hit the ground running. You don't have to
Yes.
have every answer, but you have to be able to show them that you know what you're doing. So it's not just about being easy, it's building their confidence in those early stages.
Yeah, for sure. And one of the things that we find too is that, look, of course, because we have the peso model, it is a very standardized process, right? But we find that prospects come to us a lot with a problem. They think it's a problem. They all say things like, "We have a measurement problem. We don't know how to measure." And that, truth be told, like, that's most comms teams, right? Most comms teams do have a measurement problem. They don't know how to measure. And so we have a list of questions that we asked because that's a symptom. And we've discovered through all of our work that that's a symptom. What's really the problem? And we ask, we start to dig in, and all of a sudden they go, "Oh, now it makes sense that we can't measure," right? So you can have a list of questions based on what the prospect tells you. It used to be that I, I haven't had this conversation in a long time just because of the way we've shifted the business. But I used to hear all the time, we've had 4 PR agencies and they don't do anything. They pitch a bunch of stuff and nothing ever happens. And so I had a list of questions based on that. And I one of the questions was, what other who else have you worked with? Because I want to know if you're the problem or if they're the problem, right? Have a list of questions that will help you understand so that then you can take all of that and throw it into your AI and say, this is what I've diagnosed. These are what the problems is. Please fill out the template that you have. And it helps you build a structure for your proposal really fast,
Mhm.
like in 2 minutes versus 2 days.
I mean, the great thing is being easy to work with tends to make your life easier too.
So much
Right.
easier.
Most of these things will actually improve your existence. So, rather than fighting it, rather than feeling like I have to just kind of, push in my direction to get people to align with me, if you can find that middle ground, it will likely make things easier. And you opened by talking about project management, and so I think it's a good place to wind down here as well. Project management tools are something that it certainly makes sense for you to recommend to a client if they don't have something that they're already using
Yes.
actively. You should
Yes.
definitely have one that you're using and that is your default that you would like them to use. But if they say, "Hey, I'm already using something else. We need you to be part of that," then go along with that because
Yes.
ultimately it's not which tool you're using, it's that you've got some way of keeping it all organized. And
Yes.
if you can do that, you will make your life easier, you'll make the client's life easier, and you'll produce better results. So don't fight on that. Have it so that if they don't have anything, you've got a solution.
Right.
You're not like, well, we need to think about it. Let's try to figure out which one do you like? Should we try this? Do you want vanilla or chocolate? Like, who cares?
Yeah.
Just pick one, use it, and
Yep.
move on.
Yep. Yeah. Totally. Yes.
There I am being cranky, just like you said.
My
You're welcome,
favorite tip.
everybody. You're welcome, Jenny.
Thanks.
So with that, I think we will wrap up this episode, but hopefully we were easy to listen to at least. There we go. On that note, I'm Chip Griffin,
I'm Jenny Dietrich.
and it depends.